20th of June, Watson Lake, Muncho Lake, Fort Nelson. With poor weather again forecast between ourselves and Fort Nelson, we awaited for a clearance, in the knowledge that no light aircraft had successfully completed this route for the past 2 days. By noon, Zed and Tony got airborne in promising weather about 15 minutes behind a Piper Super Cub flying the same route. A small technical problem unfortunately delayed the Islander by an hour and 25 minutes, by which time the Chipmunks were well into the route. Zed and Tony followed the highway to a point where 2 options were offered, either to continue along the highway or to follow the Lerd River on a more northerly route. On reaching this junction, not having the Islander preceding them to assess the conditions, they chose the highway option. Further down the highway, the weather deteriorated and they were forced to retrace their tracks, by now accompanied by the Piper Cub. Unfortunately, the weather had by now closed in behind them, and the only safe course of action was to land on the highway. After a successful landing by the Piper, the Chipmunks were about to follow suit when a floatplane pilot who had assessed their predicament correctly gave directions to a short disused gravel strip beside Muncho Lake. Not content with just giving advice, he quickly got airborne and led the Chipmunks in for landing. The Piper pilot, who had been monitoring progress, took off on the road and joined the Chipmunks on the strip. Meanwhile, the Islander, about 80 miles behind, was blissfully unaware of the drama and, on reaching the decision point, chose the Lerd River option, which was by now clear of cloud. Approaching Fort Nelson, expecting the Chipmunks to have already landed, all kinds of thoughts flashed through the Islander crew's minds when told that no contact had been made. Fortunately, Tony Cowan, realizing the consternation of the Islander crew, quickly had a message relayed to air traffic control at Fort Nelson, assuring them that they were safely down on the highway. We subsequently discovered that it is not uncommon for landings to be made on the highway, and notices warned road traffic to watch out for light aircraft attempting such landings in inclement weather. Once the Islander was safely down at Fort Nelson, Bill established that the Chipmunks were at Muncho Lake, and at the 4th attempt by telephone tracked them down to a small garage/motel. This was not as difficult as it sounds, because the telephone directory for Muncho Lake only lists about 20 numbers anyway. The Islander contingent of Tony S., Bill, Dave and Philip Owen settled down in the luxury of a newly opened Best Western hotel on the outskirts of town to await the arrival of the Chipmunks tomorrow, weather permitting.